Get ready to have a blast on Corey's Cast, where we talk about everything related to rehabilitation and recovery, from injuries and treatments to the unique journeys in the pursuit of an optimal life. I am your host, Corey Rasmussen. Welcome to another episode of Corey's Cast. Today we have expert fitness coach Darryl Nelson on the show, and he's going to provide you with 3 fitness tips to help optimize your health here in 2025. So I'll tell you a little bit about Darryl's background. He comes originally from Maine, where he got his bachelor's degree in athletic training, and then he went over to the University of Georgia, where he got his master's degree. After that, he did some work at 2 very prestigious fitness institutions, Mike Boyle's as well as IMG Academy, and then from there he took his career for 19 years to the USA National Hockey Team Development Program. And then we were fortunate enough to snatch him up over there at APSI after he moved to Idaho. So we're going to dive into that resume a little bit. Pretty impressive resume, Darryl. Let's talk a little bit about your journey and how you went through this whole experience. What originally got you into the fitness industry anyways? Did you do sports in high school? How did you start to develop that love?
Yeah, I did sports in high school. I did some varsity sports. I started lifting weights. I think I was probably actually still in middle school. It was like 1988 probably, I think. And I just really liked it. I was fascinated by it. And honestly, like, lifting wasn't cool back then. Everybody, lifts now, right?
Right.
But I would lie. I would say I'm going to the library and stuff like that. I'd go work out.
Oh, right on. Okay. So then at that point, did you go to school and just take generals, or you knew at that point, hey, I'm going to the University of Maine and I'm going to get into athletic training?
Yeah, I started in athletic training right away when I was a freshman. At University of Maine campus in Presque Isle is a very small school. It's like bigger schools, when you do athletic training, it's usually a graduate student that is the athletic trainer for, say, the track team or the basketball team. And the undergraduate students kind of do like more trivial stuff, cleaning.
Yeah.
But that campus doesn't have a graduate school. So as a freshman, you were right in the athletic training program.
Right on.
I traveled with teams and stuff like that. Right away, because there were no grad students doing that stuff. So there's no grad assistantships or anything like that.
Well, that's great for that experience and getting your hands dirty right away. So then you went to University of Georgia and became a Bulldog and went on to get your master's degree. So what kind of teams, because like around here at ISU, they usually have a athletic trainer for each of the different clubs, whether it's the basketball team or the football team. Were you involved in specific teams or all of them or what?
Specific teams. So that's kind of roundabout how that happened. I really liked lifting, and I competed in powerlifting when I was in college. And the athletic trainer that ran the athletic training program, who was my advisor, actually allowed me to do a strength and conditioning internship. I didn't do an athletic training internship for my degree. So I did an internship at Mike Boyle's Strength and Conditioning in Boston for my bachelor's degree from Maine. And strength coach from the University of Georgia one day randomly called Mike Boyle's training center and said, "Hey, I'm looking for a grad assistant. Do you have someone?"
Yeah.
And I was like, at the end of my internship.
Yeah.
So that's how because the guy who was the strength coach at Georgia used to be the strength coach at Boston College.
Okay.
And Mike Boyle's Strength and Conditioning is in Boston.
Yeah.
Mike Boyle was the strength coach at Boston University.
Okay.
They're a couple miles apart.
Right.
So that's how I got the connection into BU. So I had the grad assistantship before I even applied to graduate school. Applying to graduate school was a way to get the assistant strength coaching job.
Sure. Okay.
So that's how I got into that.
Okay. Well, before we go on back to Georgia, so what kind of clients or program or people did you work with when you were with that Mike Boyle's place?
Mike did a lot of high school athletes and a lot of college athletes, and in the summertime, he had a ton of NHL and NFL guys and some Major League Baseball guys and a few basketball guys and NBA guys.
Yeah.
But Mike was kind of like a hockey guy.
Yeah. Okay.
And so he had 70, 80 NHL or minor league, AHL pro guys there in the summer and their off season, and that was kind of what he was really known for.
For sure.
And Mike was also the first guy that I know of that actually trained somebody specifically for the NFL draft combine.
Oh, okay.
He's like there were some agents in Boston. They're like, just want this guy to get ready for the combine. We want to train specifically for the combine.
Sure.
And so he kind of got well known for doing that as
Right.
well, increasing 40-yard dash times and vertical jumps and all that.
So we didn't work with Tom Brady, obviously, because
No, Tom Brady was University of Michigan. Actually, he's not a New England guy.
it was just his NFL combine 40-yard dash is just infamous. For slowest ever kind of deal. But awesome, great experience there. So then you ended up down in Georgia and working with some of the teams down there.
Yeah, so it was Olympic sports, which not all the sports are really in the Olympics, but it's in college sports, Olympic sports is everything except football.
Right.
So football had their own weight room and their own strength and conditioning staff, and I did Olympic sports with the strength and conditioning coach for Olympic sports. So we had everything else. Which SEC, so that's like swimming and diving, track, baseball, softball. We trained the cheerleaders. Yeah. Mostly actually did football games, but they did basketball games too. Women's gymnastics. And so the teams that I was directly responsible for is I did baseball and softball and men's and women's swimming and diving. Yeah. And so that's about, probably 125 athletes. Swimming and diving is big. That's like 70 to 80 athletes. Yeah. And then baseball and softball is about, 20. Yeah. I think college baseball roster then was 21 guys. Yeah. I'm assuming softball was the same. I don't really remember.
It's huge. Yeah. A lot of responsibilities there. Yeah. Right on. So then you finished up at University of Georgia. You end up in this USA National Hockey Program, as I had mentioned. How'd that come about? Were you always fascinated with hockey and you searched that out? Did someone, again, contact you, or how'd that come about?
Yeah, that's really roundabout, too. So same thing. I did my master's degree at Georgia, and I did a strength and conditioning internship to fulfill my master's degree. And that's how I did my internship at IMG Academies. Okay. And how I got that was Mark Verstegen at that time was running the program at IMG Academies, and he's really good friends with Mike Boyle.
Yeah, and this is in Florida?
That's in Florida. Okay. It's in Bradenton, Florida. And so that's how I got there. And then, it's kind of like who you know. And I don't mean that like you got to be like their golf buddy or their drinking buddy, right? But you got to know people. Yeah. And so the guy who was the athletic trainer when I did my degree at the University of Maine, before that he was the athletic trainer at Lake Superior State University. And at that time, back in the 90s, Lake Superior State was one of the preeminent ice hockey Division I programs in America. Okay. And like ice hockey is their only Division I sport. It's a pretty small school. Yeah. But hockey is kind of like cult and niche, Yeah,
for sure.
And so the guy who was the ice hockey coach at Lake Superior is the coach who actually worked with USA Hockey and started the National Team Development Program. Okay. Like it was kind of his idea. What was happening was America at that time was really outclassed in hockey. And so they would put together a team for World Junior Championships, which is under 20 years old, in which Jeff Jackson, who was the ice hockey coach at Lake Superior State, had to coach some of those teams. And it was to the point where like the American teams were embarrassing. Yeah. It was like guys would go out and they would just be so unprepared to play Canada, Russia, Sweden, Finland, And like you could see it, like some of the players would be like afraid. Right. Like they'd go out on the ice and do like a 15 or 20 second shift and skate off. Like they just were so outmatched that they didn't want to be out there. Yeah. And so we got this idea, like, let's take our best players and instead of leaving them distributed like across the country, I play on my high school team in Massachusetts or Minnesota, and I'm the best guy. No one can touch me. I got like my school records and this and that. But then when I take those players and put them on a national team, they've never been pushed before. Yeah, that makes sense. So we took all those players and put them on one team and made them practice against each other every day. And then we played that was an under 18 team and under 17 team. But we played in a junior league, which was under 20. Right. And we played exhibition games against colleges. So we played the University of Michigan, Boston University, Boston College, University of New Hampshire, University of Minnesota, like to make our guys play against guys that were bigger and faster and stronger than them and more skilled than them and more experienced than them. So the idea was, you're going to get your ass kicked. Yeah. Instead of having a cushy high school career where you're the best guy every day no matter what. Like you're going to be out there where guys are like going to take it to you. Yeah. And so that was the idea. And so then when you went and played internationally and they played under 18, they crushed everybody.
Yeah.
Because they're used to playing guys that were 22.
Leveling up, yeah.
You know, and then that program was a feeder for our under 20 team, which was the original idea to build that up. So anyway, my athletic training connection at UMaine Presque Isle was how I had the connection with hockey, and Mike Boyle was also a big hockey guy, and he had done some stuff like writing programs until they had their own strength coach, which was, I was their first strength coach at that USA hockey program they hired. Before they kind of like, Mike Boyle would go out there for a weekend, give him a program. They'd run the program for a few months, and then he would check in like mid-season type of thing. And they really weren't putting a lot of money into it. And then over time, you know, they saw the demand and the need and the benefit, and it just grew.
So he was just like, hey, I got a guy, and then
connected you. So then, fast forward, the guy who was the athletic trainer at UMaine where I studied took a job working for that USA hockey program. So when I finished my master's degree and my internship at IMG Academies, he was working at USA Hockey. So then I went back and worked with him again. He was the athletic trainer, and I was the strength and conditioning coach.
Okay, right on. Nice. Good team to get reached over.
Yeah.
So I got a line of my question here. I apologize. So I do want to dive into a little more specifics on both the Mike Boyle experience as well as the IMG Academy stuff, because I think that's a important chapter in your life, and you probably took some things away from there. Talk to me a little bit about your experience at those facilities and how did that add to your knowledge base as far as being a strength and conditioning coach?
Yeah, I mean, working out Mike Boyles is great. Like he's a super nice guy. He's ultra ambitious, but like you worked your ass off, but you got treated well there. You know, everybody was friendly and all that kind of stuff. And like he just had like he had a really distinctive like approach to what he did, and you knew exactly like what the expectations were and like what his progressions were. And so like when you worked under him, like when you had a group of athletes coming in, say it's the summer program, right? And the summer program starts, just to make it easy, I'll say starts June 1st. So everybody's first week is June 1st. Well, you started the last week of May, and you did what they were going to do starting June 1st. Okay. So your training, the workouts that I did, that you did as an intern,
was the week before.
So whatever progressions those athletes were going to be going through, you did it 1 week ahead of them.
Okay.
And so when they did their first week, you were on your second week. And then when they did their second week, you were on your third week.
Right.
And so you lived it.
Yeah.
You trained it.
Yeah.
You knew what it was like. And then like he was really hands-on about like really breaking things down. Like, this is how, I think the best way to coach this is, and this is how you put people into these positions. And so it was really like I liked lifting. Well, kids going in there to get better at tennis, they don't give a shit about lifting.
Yeah.
They're lifting because they want to get better at tennis.
Sure.
So like you're learning to speak like a different language. You're talking to somebody that doesn't have the same mindset as you.
Yeah.
And he was really good at that. Because those people aren't lifting to be lifters. They're lifting to get better at their sport.
Sure.
Their sport is what they care about.
Right. And being able to bridge that's important.
Yeah. And it's like being able to speak their language and relate things to them and have a program that is going to be more relevant to them. So doing like more multiplanar movements and more unilateral stuff than you would do if you want it to be like, just a CrossFitter or a powerlifter. You tend to not do that kind of stuff as much.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's so important that you, as a trainer, as a physical therapist, whatever, that you know what your client, what your patient is going through, and you should be able to talk the talk and go through those, and so you can relate better to your patients and the things that you're prescribing. So tell me a little bit about the IMG experience.
Yeah, IMG experience was pretty cool. So they had a sports academy, and it was like middle school and high school kids that you worked with. But then, I was there in the wintertime. Like it was like a January to like the beginning of May time of year. And so we had all the football guys doing the combine then.
Okay.
And we had a huge swath of baseball guys that were doing like they're getting ready for spring training.
Right.
For the first half of that, spring training starts in February usually. And so that was pretty interesting. That's, the Major League Baseball and NFL guys is like the opposite end of the spectrum from working with like some middle school kid,
right? Yeah.
Nothing against, like, it's harder to coach the middle school kid. Like, that's how you get good at coaching.
Yeah.
You know, if you can coach those guys, they don't have the body awareness, and they're not like
Sure.
maybe not inherently super athletic,
Yeah.
but they're kids. They like to play the sport, right?
Yeah.
And if you can make them good at, you know, lifting, then I mean, it was really hard to get Chad Pennington to be good, you know.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Or Thomas Jones was there too. He was like the 7th pick, I think, that year in the NFL draft. Like, yeah, do it like this, and be like, okay,
Yeah.
you can do it like that.
They got it down there.
You know, they don't.
But learn how to motivate the middle age. And
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah.
So that was the difference. But it's cool to see those guys too, because you see like what kind of the upper end of like what human performance is really
Can
like.
be, yeah.
Like the NHL guys at Mike's place, or like I still remember this, Thomas Jones, when we started the NFL Combine guys. We did it on Monday because one of the tests at the Combine is bench press for reps.
Right.
So I put 225 on the bar. Thomas Jones does 7 reps. The following week, the next Monday, he did 13.
Yeah.
He doubled his reps in
Wow.
1 week of training. Like,
Yeah, that's
but
pretty
like
awesome.
guy was just like a freak. You know,
Yeah.
Talk about like a huge ratio of fast twitch muscle fibers.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he could just do stuff.
Yeah. Respond very quickly.
Yeah, like a huge responder to training.
Yeah.
Like it was insane.
Because you're going to get those, and wherever you're at, you're going to get people that respond well, and you're going to get people that don't
Yeah,
respond
some people
well.
are bigger responders.
Yeah.
Or I remember like, so then we would work out in the morning, and then we would do like, it would be like all speed work. It was all like running and jumping stuff. We wouldn't touch any weights.
Yeah.
Then they would go eat, and they'd come back and we'd do weights. And then they would
Oh,
go
wow.
eat, and they would come back, and they would do like position stuff. So like the receivers
Yeah.
would do stuff, the linemen would do stuff.
Wow.
I remember like, and so you would just be there to help out, and they had actual football coaches that
Yeah.
did that part. I'm not a football coach.
Sure.
But like they would just ask you to help out, and you're there to be the schlep, right? You do
Yeah.
whatever they ask.
Yeah.
But like, okay, well, Chad Pennington's going to throw. You just got to catch the balls for him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, throwing is
Easy
an
said than done.
understatement.
Yeah.
Like you'd be like, oh, that guy doesn't have a strong arm. He's not a a premier guy or
Yeah.
whatever. The shit that those receivers are catching,
Yeah.
like that's like insane stuff. You know, he's just throwing like to throw. Everything is right here, and it's hard to catch.
Uh-huh.
Like it's like a missile every time he throws it. You know,
Yeah.
even if he's not like
Sure.
really unloading.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah, I don't think we have a full appreciation.
Yeah, how
being,
good
being
those guys are.
a recliner expert, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, on those. So how long were those internships? Are we talking
They're
weeks? Are we
about-
talking months?
they were a semester. It was a 16 credit internship for school. So it was January, February, March, April, May. It was 5 months
Okay.
at IMG, and I think I did about 6 months at Mike Boyle's
Yeah.
for my
Awesome.
bachelor's degree.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I got those experiences.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting experiences all the way around. You know, University of Georgia SEC athletics was pretty interesting. You get like freak athletes like track sprinters and jumpers.
Yep.
And then you get, not that they're not good athletes, but they're different kind of athletes, but like swimmers and divers, like they're used to being in the water. They're not lifters,
Yeah.
you know. They're like all like kind of
Right.
not the same level of like body awareness and everything,
Sure.
you know, and power really. Some of the sprinters in swimming were pretty powerful,
Yeah.
but not like, you know, not like 100-meter track sprinters
Yeah.
and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, you get a whole variety of goals that you're targeting, from explosiveness
Yeah.
to, which most of the athletes, that's what they're targeting,
Yeah.
right? Except for some of your endurance athletes.
It was
and things
like, you know,
that.
you go and talk to like the track and field coach, and like Debbie Ferguson was on the track team there. She won 4 gold medals in the Olympics.
Wow.
She was that kind of
As
sprinter.
a sprinter, okay.
Sprinter. She did, I think most of her medals were relays. She was from the Bahamas.
Yeah.
So she was Bahamian, I think is the way to say it.
Yeah.
So that's where her gold medals were from.
Yeah.
But she competed at Georgia, and I think she's still to this day a track coach in Texas, I think.
Yeah.
But like, you talk to the track coach, and like, oh, I want my sprinters to be explosive, and you have someone
Sure.
like that who's like a freak.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, she was like this tall, and she could like hang clean like 225, like 45 plates on the bar,
Yeah.
like, you know, crazy powerful.
Crazy powerful.
But then you talk to like, you know, the swim coach, and he's
Yeah,
got all
that's
these
what I was gonna
like
wonder.
long distance swimmers, and he's like, power is paramount importance. You know, they got legs this big around.
Yeah.
Like they're not. But every time you do a turn on the wall, like that's power. That's triple
yeah,
extension.
right.
That's like, you know, a squat jump or a dumbbell snatch or a hang
Yeah.
clean. It's like they want that power too.
Yeah.
But you're talking like it's 2 different languages, and they're both telling you they want powerful hips and legs.
Yeah.
And it's just like different means to doing it, you know. And like some of the swimmers that were
Sure.
big time, because in 1996 the Olympics were in Atlanta, and they used a lot of the University
Right.
of Georgia's
Okay.
facilities. But that swim team had a couple of Olympic gold and silver medalists on it.
Yeah.
You know, and they were winning medals in the Olympics when they were like 17, 18,
Sure.
19 years old, those
Yeah.
swimmers. Like some of them were like, Michael Phelps type of good
Yeah.
swimmers,
That's awesome.
and it was, so you just get like this huge experience.
Yeah.
And then we had like the cheerleaders. I mean, like we even had the dude that was the mascot. He wore the bulldog head and
Yeah.
the costume and
Yeah.
everything, and
Still had to be fit.
still had to be fit. I mean, different kind of athlete, right?
Yeah.
But he was into what he did.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
Awesome. Yeah. Huge resume there with variety of athletes performing at the top level there. So that's a great resume. That's a great journey. So let's talk a little bit more. Fast forward. You're over here in Idaho. What I like about Darryl is a couple things. One is he continues to learn and grow. He's always talking about some of the new things that he learns, and he, like we mentioned before, he talks the talk, he walks the walks. He's in wonderful shape and fitness, and continues to work hard on that. Hopefully, maybe if you haven't already seen some of his videos on Instagram, you become a follower after this. He's got some good content on there, and we'll put a link below on where you can follow him and see him. So talk to me a little bit about your approach to ongoing learning, because there's stuff that's always changing, especially in the fitness industry, whether you're talking about diet or you're talking about strength and conditioning and stuff like that. And so what is your approach to learning, and do you have certain resources that you use as far as I definitely like to follow these influencers. I subscribe to this journal, that kind of thing. Just talk to us about how you try to stay at the top of your game from a knowledge standpoint.
Yeah, I just like to always follow training and nutrition stuff. And I guess probably for me, I mean, I like to have cool stuff to do, like with the people that I train, because like we kind of talked about before, the people that are coming to you for a workout aren't lifters.
Yeah.
They don't really, like I care about lifting.
Right.
Like that's what matters to me.
Yep.
It doesn't matter to them. They're doing it because they want to feel better skiing or snowboarding or mountain biking or running their ultra trail races or
they just need you to push them because they don't like to do it.
Yeah, or like they're sick of their back hurting. They want to be able to pick up their kid again, or they had some injury and they did some physical therapy and that's run out. Their insurance doesn't pay for more, but they know that they need to keep going. They're not really in good shape, and so like having a huge menu of things to pull from, it helps you cater things to those people. Like you can assess someone and go, this, that, or the other thing, and this is the exercises that we need to do, instead of having like a generic workout of the day that everybody does. Like I don't do, like every single person that I work with has a different workout. I have a workout for them. Even when I do classes and I have 5 or 10 people together, there's 5 or 10 different workouts in class. It's not like a spin class or a yoga class where the instructor is just generically instructing and everybody is getting coached the same thing. People have their workout written down. We do a collective warm-up and then they break and they do their workout. That's for them.
Yeah.
But that's how you get the result. If you're not training what you need to train, then what result are you going to get?
Sure.
So I think that's part of what motivates me to learn, is because you're always coming up with better ideas to fine-tune workouts for like a huge swath of people. Some people, they like to be a specialist. I work only with high school athletes, or I'm a track guy or a golf guy or a tennis guy or a ski guy. I just want to be the best guy.
Yeah.
Like what do you do, and I'll figure it out.
Sure. Yeah.
If you do like construction and manual labor and you have a lot of back pain, let's fix it.
Yeah.
Like that's how I approach it. So
Right.
I don't have an agenda. I assess the person and figure out a workout for them. I don't have like my pet exercises that I want.
You don't have a
someone to
cookie
do.
cutter program.
Right.
Kind of deal.
And I think, and so the same, like I'm selfish in that, the same goes for me. Like I said, I started lifting in the 80s. This is literally my 5th decade of lifting. I've never been like, oh, you haven't lifted for a couple years. Like I've not lifted like when I've gone like on a hunting trip or a camping trip. Like other than that, I lift every week.
Yeah.
So like since 1988, I've lifted for like 48 or 50 weeks a year.
Yeah.
And so if you just have like, squat, bench press, deadlift, like that gets old pretty quick.
Yeah, for sure.
Your favorite exercise is only your favorite for like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Then you need something else.
Yeah.
And so like for me, I like to do new stuff. Like there was a time where like I didn't even know how to grip a kettlebell.
Mm-hmm.
Like what the hell is this thing? Like it didn't.
And there's an art to it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then so like I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna learn about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. And like I had like the black and blue spots on my arms from
Sure.
like the thing smacked me because I didn't know how to clean it and how to snatch it and how to lift it, and my wrist hurt because the weight was flopping my wrist back because I didn't have the right grip. I just figured it out. Clubs and maces, like some calisthenics stuff and suspension trainers. Like there was a time where all that stuff was new and like I didn't know how to do it. Or like talking about like IMG academies, like I don't really know a lot about like running and sprinting mechanics. And then you're coaching guys that are going to go to the combine. Well, like a few tenths of a second might make the difference between a first and a second round pick.
And then millions
could be,
of dollars.
$500,000 or $1 million difference for the guy. So when you start like watching video of like a good sprint, and you're like, oh yeah, more to it than just making somebody squat more weight.
Right.
They still have to apply the force into the ground and propel themselves.
Yeah. There's some technique.
And so it was like.
And you work that into your classes. I've seen him working with athletes, working on speed and technique and push off and all those kind of things. And so, a jack of all trades is the understatement. The cool thing about Darryl is, like he said, he's got the experience in his background that he can evaluate these areas of weaknesses and prescribe a program that's going to address those and get you to your optimal level to either whether it's just overall fitness goals or if it's returning to a sport or doing whatever it might be. And doing it in a variety of ways. Always, Darryl's library of exercise is unlimited, and so you're not going to get bored with the things that he has you do if you're lucky enough to have the opportunity to train with him. Tell me about, you still, besides just your self-study, you do still attend conferences and stuff like that. Talk to me about maybe the last one that you went to.
Yeah. See, the last conference I did was this over the winter in January. I went to that Primal Body Conference in Dallas, Texas. It was Sean O'Mara and Candy Frazier. It's basically a nutrition-based conference. Sean O'Mara is a physician out of Minnesota. I might be messing that up, but I'm pretty sure he's in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And he wrote a book called, I think the exact title is Growing Better, Not Older. But it's about like longevity and
which is a hot
maintaining
topic
yourself. A hot topic right now because, just call a spade a shovel. Baby boomers are in rough shape.
Yeah, right.
And I think a lot of people are seeing that and going, I don't want to go through what my grandparent or my parent went through. I don't want my kids to have to care for me the way that I had to care for my parent. I don't want to become a liability on their life.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what Sean O'Mara is really well known for is, basically his book is like the summation of a big research study he did through, I think it was funded through the NIH. And so he did MRIs on people and he scanned them for visceral fat.
Oh yeah, you're telling me about this, huh?
And so he's really linking that to so when you accumulate fat around your organs and your heart, it's not just making you fat. It's like pro-inflammatory. It's the backdrop for all these other metabolic conditions, cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular disease. It all starts with the visceral fat. And so he's doing MRIs on people and quantifying their visceral fat, measuring how much they have. You have 17 pounds of visceral fat, or you have 1 pound or whatever. And so usually when you get interventional trials like that, it's like 10 people. But he did it on 6,000 people. Wow. So you're talking about before and after MRI on 6,000 people. And then some people, he did other interventions. They may have done 3 or 4 or 5 MRIs. So you're talking, he did like 15,000 MRIs probably, and researched it and quantified all of his findings. And I just felt it was super fascinating.
Yeah.
But he showed pictures of himself and some of his clients, like what their body looks like. So, no shirt on or a sports bra on, compression shorts, whatever the case may be, but also their face. And he's like, I got to the point where I could just read a person's face and I could estimate how much visceral fat they have. And then, I'd do the MRI and sure enough, that's what they had. Because you could see like the inflammation in their face and their eyes would be like a different color and bloodshot. And like you could just read those things. And like, he could see the outward signs of all the inflammation that they had in their body. That's from the visceral fat.
You bring up that visceral fat thing. I know over there at APSI you guys got the in-body scanners, and I forget, but there's some good research behind those more higher end in-body ones. Of course, they have the home units and stuff like that, but these higher end ones that APSI has, they're right up there close to the MRIs, trying to find some of that stuff out, and you do get numbers on visceral fat.
There is a visceral fat number on there. It measures your visceral fat.
And
if
that's,
you're low, medium, or
yeah.
above, threshold,
and that's just another service that when they sign up with classes or personal training, or even individually, you could schedule some time to get scanned and find out more about this visceral fat,
sure.
because it's a big thing. And like you had mentioned before, it's not just that you're fat, you just got inflammation, you feel crappy, and it leads to all other kind of metabolic illnesses.
And even a lot of people are Sean O'Mara, and now like in actually like medical literature, like research literature, they call it normal weight obesity. People aren't overweight, but they have such little muscle mass that they're carrying a lot of fat without realizing it. Yeah. And he quantified some people as TOFI, TOFI, thin on the outside, fat on the inside. Oh, wow. A person's normal weight and they look relatively thin. Yeah. But then he does their MRI, they eat bread and pasta and that kind of stuff, and they have all kinds of fat inside them. So it's not subcutaneous, it doesn't cover their six pack. It's inside of their abdominal wall. It's inside their muscles, and they're loaded with it. Their heart is encased with fat. Yeah. And he literally calls it in his research, TOFI is the abbreviation he uses. Yeah. And those people are like he uses this example of this one guy came in, and the guy was vegan, and he was a marathon runner. And the guy wanted Sean O'Mara to, be his personal physician, right? Sure. Provides his service. Obviously, you pay thousands of dollars. You get the MRI and his one-on-one attention and all this stuff. And the guy flat out told me, he's like, "Oh, you're almost wasting your time. I'm not going to have any visceral fat at all. I'm a vegan." Yeah. And he was thin. He was a runner, right? Mm-hmm. And Sean O'Mara was like, "I can see it in your face. You got visceral fat. Let's do the MRI." The guy's okay. And the guy had 17 pounds of visceral fat. Yeah. This little skinny runner guy, waist this big around. Yeah. Literally all his fat was inside of him, in his organs, like in his liver and around his kidneys, not subcutaneous fat. Yeah. And Sean O'Mara is actually saying you should have a little bit of subcutaneous fat. Like that's the fat you use to have immunity and energy and all that. Okay. Yeah, it's the visceral fat. That was my next question. The shitty fat. Yeah. That's what is pro-inflammatory and is a sign of just poor metabolic health. Mm-hmm. So he's saying you can see the outline of your six pack and all that being ripped like a bodybuilder is shitty because you have not enough subcutaneous fat. Yeah, right on. Knowledge, there you have it. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about you. So obviously you got the knowledge surrounding this, and you had mentioned you very rarely take off any time. Usually if you are taking time, it's because you're out hunting, in which you're already getting some other form of exercise in. But currently, kind of what, didn't you recently participate in a competition? Tell us a little bit about that. Yeah, so Masters Weightlifting Nationals was in Boise at the end of March, the last week of March, so I competed in that. Yeah. Now, was this first time competing in something like that? That was the first weightlifting meet I've ever done. I've done a whole bunch of powerlifting meets before. Okay. So what's the difference? Powerlifting is squat, bench press, and deadlift. Weightlifting is snatch and clean and jerk. Only. Not just those two. Okay. And so that's the difference between those two sports. Yeah. How'd you do? 8th place at Nationals. Yeah, that's pretty dang good. That's okay. Yeah, Nationals. I got another one coming up. First weekend of August, there's a weightlifting meet at FitCon, which is in Sandy, Utah. Okay. FitCon's a big fitness expo. Sure. So it's got a big exhibitor hall, weight equipment, supplements, clothing, gear, all that stuff. And then they have a bunch of events with it. So there's weightlifting, there's powerlifting, there's strongman. I think there's a CrossFit Games. I think there's some mixed martial arts, sumo wrestling. Yeah. I think there's arm wrestling. Yeah. A whole bunch of other events to go with the vendor hall thing. Okay. It's like the equivalent of the Arnold Classic, the Arnold Expo for the Rocky Mountains. I think it's the biggest fitness show in the Rockies. Wow. They sold Is it always in Sandy? It's always in Sandy. The guy that runs it is in Sandy. It's at the Mountain View Expo Center, I think, in Sandy, Utah, is what that facility is called. But last year they sold, I think, 15,000 tickets. Wow. It's Friday and Saturday, so it's 2 days. It's Friday night, and then it goes Saturday till 4 p.m. or something like that. Okay. And so you're participating in the weightlifting? Yeah, the weightlifting competition. The weightlifting, I don't know the details on everything else. Right now it looks like the weightlifting is going to be youth and juniors on Friday night, and then open division and masters on Saturday. Okay. And you're in the Masters? I'm in the Masters, yeah. Masters is, I think the rules are now Masters starts at 30 years old. Right on. How do you feel? How's your body feeling getting ready for that? It's feeling pretty good. Everything's been going pretty well. not any major setbacks or anything, like that. Try to train to have like a lot of, joint health and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
not any issues. Worst thing I did is rip the callus off my hand, so I couldn't really grip the weights good for a little bit.
Right. So do you have just a standard of health that you hold yourself to, or do you, or it's just, hey, I just need to put in the time, and it's more about how I feel and less about any kind of numbers?
I don't really track numbers. I don't, and this might sound bad talking to someone that does medicine, but I don't go to the doctor.
Oh, that's good. If
So
you
I
want
don't-
to.
I don't get like my blood work or my,
Yeah.
check my heart and look at my ears and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And there's even actually some doctors that think like a checkup is a waste of time. If someone wants to argue that, I can send them the information.
Sure. Yeah. Right on.
They're more or less like, I just go by like how I feel.
Yeah.
So like I know like I went to a family reunion over the 4th and I had beer and stuff like that, and like I could feel the inflammation in my joints
Yeah.
from alcohol and like having s'more with my nephew.
Yeah.
Like I can tell
Instantly. Yeah.
instantly. Like I don't need a checkup to tell me that.
Yeah.
But I think the more dialed in you get,
For
like,
sure.
like the more you can tell like what's
When
different, like in
something's
how you
off.
respond and what's off. And I've noticed too, like I don't really, like I know people lift and they get sore and they're like, oh yeah, I must have had a good workout, but I view that the other way. Your
Yeah.
recovery is shit.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, if you do something new, yeah, you get a little bit sore. Like that happens to
Mhm.
me sometimes.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I don't get sore. So I can
Yeah.
work out today as hard as I want and it doesn't impede my workout
Right.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I know I can always make progress.
Yeah.
And when I do get sore, it's like if I go to like the family reunion barbecue and I drink alcohol, like I'll start getting sore that day.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I work out, like we went to the Elk Foundation dinner in the spring, I worked out that day,
Yeah.
and then I had a bourbon, and I
Yeah.
started getting sore, like as soon as I drank the bourbon.
Yeah.
Where normally like that workout, I would have had no soreness
Sure.
from it the next day.
Yeah. No, makes
But
sense.
like that's, you break down the muscle tissue, like that's inflammatory, and then you eat or drink something that's
Promotes
adds
it.
inflammation on top of that.
Yeah.
That's the problem, and
Yeah.
I think in general that's people's problem. Like the hyperinsulinemia and the really high glucose all the time is inflammatory,
Mm-hmm.
and then they work out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're going to get blown up.
Mm-hmm. So we could talk about this forever. And so I first wanted to just kind of bring Darryl on the show to really establish his expertise, because we're going to have him back a lot of times. He's just a wealth of knowledge, and I know there's a lot of people that are interested in learning some of that, these fitness tips and different things. And we'll talk about inflammatory foods and practices and things like that in future episodes as well. Workout techniques, stuff, different tips that you guys can benefit from. But as I had promised earlier on the show, I wanted to get an expert like Darryl on the show to provide you his 3 tips for 2025 to maximize your fitness. What would you give?
Maximize your fitness. Let's see. Well, specifically to training, I would say one thing that I see people not doing that they should do, especially in a gym like ours, we have all the turf, is using the drive sleds. Because you can load the heck out of your legs, and it's not like squats and deadlifts where the weight is bearing down on you, especially if you're a beginner lifter or you're not like a hardcore lifter. Like maybe you don't want to do a lot of back squats and deadlifts.
Yeah.
But you can put a ton of weight on the sled, drive as hard as you want, literally till like you're so fatigued that you collapse on the ground.
Yep.
The sled is already on the ground. The weight's not collapsing down on you. I don't think
like that
people
too.
use the sled enough
Agreed.
really to load their legs.
Yeah.
And even if you are like more of like a lifter and you like to do squats, you can still increase the volume of your leg training by using the sled, because you're still not loading your back
Yeah.
that much.
Makes total
Like
sense.
once you hit the threshold for what your back can recover from, you can still hit your legs with the sled.
Yeah. Okay, that's tip number
So
1.
that's one. Number 2 is I see it like people that come into the gym for personal training and classes, drink water.
Yeah.
The best pre-workout drink is water.
Yeah.
The best post-workout recovery drink is
Can't
water.
go wrong.
Yeah.
Most underrated one, and
Yeah,
the
people
easiest one to
They're
abide
just
by.
not hydrated enough. They're
Yeah.
getting cramps and all this stuff. Just drink more water.
Yeah.
Let's see.
3.
Number 3, protein forward eating.
Okay. Talk to me about
Minimum 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. So that's your target body weight. So that's what you would weigh for men if you were around like 10% fat, and for women that's probably more like 18 or 20% body fat. And then also, as people age, actually we become less efficient. So you need to add to that. And a good guideline, the best one I've seen is actually from Dr. Gabrielle Lyon. and she's a geriatrician. She specializes in old people.
Yeah.
And she recommends adding 10% to that number for every decade of life.
Okay.
So you eat 1 gram of protein per pound of target body weight every day when you're in your 20s.
Okay.
You need to eat 1.1 gram once you get to your 30s, 1.2 grams once you get to your 40s, so on and so forth. So all these people that are in their 60s and 70s and 80s and they're having like, an egg for breakfast.
Yeah, is not enough.
Like they're just tanking themselves, and that's why they get to the condition they're getting. They should be eating, like 1.5, 1.75 grams of protein per pound of target body weight each day, because they're just not as efficient as they were when they were younger. They're not getting as much
for sure
out of the protein.
Yeah, 100%. And they've got faster muscle breakdown, stuff like that. That's been one of the biggest changes I made in my PT practice in the last 2 years is talking about the nutrition and protein specifically. If they're not already, good with their protein, start with the 1 pound, but try to work it up, especially when they're trying to recover from an injury. So they need to even add a little bit more on top of that. So I always try to push them towards that 1.5 per targeted body weight. So excellent recommendation. Well, Darryl, thanks for coming on the show. It was a fantastic, fascinating, getting to know a little bit about your background and some of these fitness tips. So we're gonna have Darryl back on the show. So go ahead, if you like this, go ahead. Please subscribe, like, share, comment. That helps the algorithm so that we can get some more exposure. And we're gonna have Darryl on the show several other times. So look towards those for some more knowledge.